Miami got itself a first-time female mayor and a Democrat, breaking a 28-year Republican hold in the city. That's pretty good. You know, this consolidation of like the Democrats in the cities and the Republicans in the suburbs has been increasing over time. It's getting to I mean, it's eventually going to reach a breaking point, I feel. There's actually been a bunch of tension out of Utah lately, right? Because Salt Lake City is pretty blue. Like Salt Lake City is a pretty dang blue city. It's every single other part of Utah that's red, right? But if your capital city, the only real city in your entire state, is blue, that means all the culture being produced out of your state, or at least most of it, is also blue. It creates a tension, you see? We really do produce all the culture, you know? We're getting into rural country too. No, well, we're getting into the suburbs, you know? Like the only suburbs that remain deep red across the country, on average, you know, across the board, are these like newly erected McMansion suburbs, the kind of stuff that you see like around Phoenix, you know. But established suburbs, the kind of stuff that was built decades ago, those have been shifting blue, you know, year over year. I think a lot of this is the education gap, right? A lot of the people who are filling up those new exurbs, those like newly built McMansions, these are people with trade jobs who are taking out 200-year mortgages, you know? But a lot of the people who live in the suburbs that are closer to the city core have degrees, and people who have degrees don't vote Republican. Yeah. A car dealership owner type stuff, you know? I might be stupid. Why does education correlate with being more left-leaning? There's a lot of jokes I could make about that. I mean, it's kind of self-evident, right? Look, you can be a bad person and be educated, right? I don't really think being educated makes you that much better of a person, like morally. Maybe a little bit, because I do think education is liberatory, you know, just ideologically. I think that knowing more things tends to make you a better person. But morally, like, we're talking marginal stuff, you know? The problem is that right now conservatism offers literally nothing for you if you think about it. If you are self-interested, like you want the world to be better for you, and you are capable of thinking twice about anything the conservatives offer you, the party has nothing for you. Literally nothing. It didn't used to be like that, man. It used to be, I mean, the conservative project all the way up until Trump, there were some things they offered you, right? I'm not saying they were good. I'm just saying that you could at the very least, you could think about it and you could make an argument for it. I think the arguments are bad, but there was something to engage with. Now there really is nothing. It's all populist slop. So yeah, no, that trend of the educational divide is only going to get worse over time, man. Doctors were a reliably right-wing voting bloc until a decade ago. Right, because all doctors are sociopaths, exactly. But now, how can you be a doctor and be Republican? The Republicans want to make being a doctor illegal. Republicans want the only form of medical practice to be like knocking a hole in your skull with a rock to let the ghosts out. That's the only... If you do anything more than that, they'll call you woke and sue you. Anyway.
For nearly 3 decades, and yes, you're
hey,
hearing that
Collins.
music correctly, a Republican has led the city of Miami from City Hall, but that streak has ended tonight, hence the election music. CNN is now projecting that the Democrat in that race, Eileen Higgins, is going to win the Miami's mayor race, defeating the Trump-backed Republican city manager Emilio Gonzalez. This is the latest strong performance that we are seeing play out by Democrats in elections during the first year of President Trump's second term, as they've continued to ride a strong wave of momentum in these off-year races. My political sources are here with me tonight: former Obama White House senior advisor Ashley Allison and Republican strategist Brad Todd. And Brad, this is the...
I get it, because she's black and he's white. Yeah, I don't know much about Miami apart from, you know, the fact that it has all the homosexuals. But this is another one of those big rifts that Republicans don't really have a solution for. If you lose all of the educated people and you lose all of the cities, what do you have? Like, how can you build anything? How can you build a legacy for the country when every single thing the country produces, apart from soybeans, is running through the, you know, like liberal institutions, or institutions that have like a liberal, you know, predisposition? It is. No building, just strip mining. I have never been a big fan. How do I put this, man? I was thinking about this last night while shaving. You know what term I've never liked? I've never liked the term kleptocracy. You know, a kleptocracy when you're ruled by people who steal, you know? And the reason for that, I guess internally, my argument has always been that all rulers do. You know, to say one type of leadership is a kleptocracy is to imply that the point of being a leader in a, you know, bourgeois sense is not to strip resources. Like that's just a part and parcel. But I think I've shifted on that because this is a real kleptocracy, right? You know, Obama and Bush and so on, all the other presidents, they all presided over the process of corporate strip mining of the country, sure, but they still were interested in maintaining the continued existence of the country, right? There was a project they were trying to build. This one's exclusively interested in looting. I guess I didn't really realize what the term meant until I saw it playing out in its purest form. I don't know. That's all they want to do, man.
Candidate that just, I think 2 days ago, the president said it was a big and important race. He said, vote for the Republican Gonzalez, that he is fantastic. What do you make of the fact that he lost tonight? What are you reading into that?
Well, you're not going to hear me diminish the fact this is a largely ceremonial office, and it's typically a low wattage election. You're not going to hear me do that. What I'm going to tell you...
It was a 20-point shift over to the Democrats in Florida. The shift was crazy, plus 20D. The Latino vote collapsed for the GOP. Wonderful. And it's not just the Latino vote. It's the Cuban vote in Miami.
Is if we have 20% turnout in the midterms like we did tonight, we're going to get our tails kicked in every election. And the message for Republicans here is that we have to do better with turnout. Our party has a lot of low propensity voters in our current coalition. That means we have to work really...
No. The opposite is true. Republicans actually have higher turnout propensity voters because their voter base tends to be older. Historically, it's actually the Democrats who have to work a little bit harder to maintain that turnout. Is that true? But he said, no, he's saying the opposite of what's true, actually. This is like a cope factory.
Really hard.
This is this guy's job. Every time we see this guy on CNN, especially over the past month, his job is to be like, now, I know the results from 2025 look bad for Republicans. However...
get them out in non-presidential elections. That is the signature challenge of this election for us right now that campaigns and candidates can control.
I mean, I actually...
You stunned her.
Well, I'm stunned because it's rare that I hear Republicans say that their voting constituents are low propensity. That is often a term or adjective that is applied to young voters, to African-American voters.
It's the opposite of the truth. When was the last time you heard about a get out there and vote campaign from the Republicans? It's always the Democrats doing it because they're trying to appeal to younger voters who are stupid and don't vote. Older voters who tend to vote Republican, you know, are just more predisposed
to vote like only presidential voters. And so I too think that Democrats have to do a turnout game. But what I will say is that this candidate that won is a progressive Democrat. And so after the 2024 elections, I think progressives got this smear campaign done on them that's the reason why the vice president lost. The president.
Is it arguably a good thing he's downplaying because they'll be less likely to see the coming dev wave as the threat? No. What it's good because what it tells me is that the Republicans have no strategy for actually changing the course they've set. Again, it's dead. They're crashing into the ground. Their only strategy right now is to pretend they're not. Remember how bad it was electorally for the Biden administration to pretend that the inflation crisis wasn't happening? Now the Trump administration's done the exact same thing, but arguably much worse. Like every single day, they just pretend that everything's good. You know, they have no intention of actually shifting their strategy to meet the needs of the voters or change what led to them getting blown the fuck out in 2025.
Election. And it's just not true because what we're seeing and the indication is that if you run on progressive ideas like affordability, like treating people with dignity, even around immigration, which is something that is happening in Miami and was a key issue right there, you can win. And it seems like that's what this candidate did. It also is telling, this reminds me of the last midterm elections, that Donald Trump's endorsement is not the thing that is going to get you over the finish line in midterms. He is the candidate that gets himself over the finish line. It doesn't mean the people he endorsed goes over.
Do you think that's fair? Because there is a real question. The president was saying tonight that Susie Wiles, we played the soundbite last night where she said that he's going to be campaigning like it's 2024 and 2026. Is that going to be helpful if he's out there?
I think
What's that look
that
like?
his
Also, Dem's been winning with both high and low turnout races with at least plus 12-point shifts. There's not much hope for the GOP. Well, I mean, it never underestimate the Democrats' ability to fumble and turn a victory into a defeat, you know? So far, the Democrats still have no presiding message, no overriding goal or narrative, and they don't really have a strategy for fixing the country. Wasn't it just yesterday that Jeffries was putting together a panel for like a AI consultancy for the Democrats, and it had the same far-right Silicon Valley lunatics that the Republicans always pull from? I only briefly skimmed that headline. I'll need to look at it to...
presence
Let me find that.
in strong Republican areas helps with low propensity Republican voters. They're, by definition, those voters are voters that like Donald Trump a lot better than they like a lot of
a new House Democratic Commission on AI and the Innovation Economy. And it's thanking ranking members. The U.S. can and must continue to lead the world in the development of artificial intelligence. Yeah, you get it. It's I'll read more on this later. But the Democrats are perfectly capable of fumbling this, because even if the Republicans are doing a terrible job running the country, they're still better on messaging than the Democrats. At least they're consistent, you know?
the Republicans. And so when they hear him say it's important, that does help. But that's going to end up being in person most of the time, I think, in the 2026 midterm elections. I mean, again, this is a race with 20%, 36,000 people voted in Miami. It's not a big election. And there aren't many swing voters on either side. I don't know. I want to make too many judgments about the messaging or the issues, because at 20%, there are no swing voters.
But this has been a seat that has been held by a Republican for 30 years.
That's
if
right.
this was New York, I would take it. This is Miami. We're not talking the same thing, New York and Miami.
You know what we need to do? We need to start getting what we need to bring back is like city patriotism. You know, Republicans love to shit talk every single major city because they're all Democrat, right? Even within their own state. We need to start getting mad about that the way they do when we make fun of their shitty, podunk, loser, incest-ridden, abuse-ridden rural towns. You know what I mean? Like they pearl clutch when you point out that Fent, USA is a shithole, you know, incest capital of the country. Oh, you don't like West Virginia, you fucking lib. Meanwhile, they shit talk New York City. I don't know how they get away with that, man. New York City is America. How do they get away with shit talking every single city? LA, New York City, whatever. And like, I don't know, people never react to that. Even residents of those communities don't seem to react to it. Republicans fucking hate this country, man. Republican New Yorkers will hear Trump shit talk the greatest city in the world, and they'll be like, yeah, that's right. I fucking hate being in the hyper-walkable metropolis that, you know, is a beacon of American exceptionalism, represents all cultures, and contains all good things in existence within its borders, you know? It's the worst. Hate that.
You should pay attention.
Losing's bad. Losing's bad. Don't get me wrong.
We know.
And that is why we bring you on for that superb political analysis. Brad Todd, Ashley Allison, great to have you. Losing is bad.
All right, this morning, Democrats feeling a fresh burst of momentum ahead of the midterms, winning a pair of elections in what is considered Republican territory. CNN projects that a Democrat has won the Miami mayor's race for the first time in nearly 30 years. Eileen Higgins.
Why would I get upset by a brain-dead troglodyte? Because it's important to celebrate the importance of good things in addition to like condemning bad things, right? This is one of the reasons why the left struggles electorally, because there are so many people who think that like the ideal leftist candidate would win off a campaign of saying America is bad and should be destroyed. It's not enough to say Trump is bad. You have to celebrate the good. It's why Mamdani won. Right? Man clearly loves his city. You have to, you have to plant your feet in the ground and argue affirmatively for it.
Will also be the first woman mayor in Miami's history.
The first
and in
woman
Georgia,
ever.
Democrat Eric Gisler has flipped a state house seat in a district that President Trump won last year by about 12 points. With us now.
Anyway, we get the gist. Godspeed to Miami. What were the margins? Hold on. Miami election. I want to know the actual numbers. Oh, right. Okay, they just had him up on screen. Gotcha. Pretty significant. Yeah, by like 20 points. Well, we'll take the good when we can, huh? The current mayor did apparently try to postpone elections. Yeah, you can tell that the Republicans aren't banking on low propensity voters because their main strategy for winning elections is suppressing the vote, which they do everywhere, often quite effectively, but not successfully. Not this time. The current mayor did a crypto rug pull on the city of Lamau. Kleptocracy, man. The Georgia state house race was worse for the GOP. Dems won a Trump plus 12 seat. Thank you. I was waiting for somebody other than Masaigu to say it because they kind of have a monopoly on providing me useful information during a segment. I said it, but I'm sorry. I was really looking for any pitch in there. You know, it's like when you're playing the field. You're all kids in my head, right? You're all like little babies. So when you've got the kids out in the field, you can't let like the one, what would you say, roided up kid. You know, everyone has to take a shot. Everyone has to be able to swing the bat. Masaiga, you're juicing. Maybe people should step up their game. I don't know. People should be better. You're like the Step Brothers bit. You're like that 22-year-old Dominican with the fake ID saying you're 6 so that you can you can lap everyone else at the ball game. It's fucked up. You got your 17 monitors up with like every news article on every subject I'm about to talk about. We got the data, the stat sheet. It's just matrix code to you. You know, you don't even see the green text. You just see polling data, electoral results, opinion articles. I'm in. My will to clink Masaigo links plummeting with every Japan mention. It really is the push and pull. You know what I mean? It's the dignity of not fully succumbing to the position that Nippon is superior to the United States, but also there's so much useful information to pull from. I'm just trying to. It's like a cursed well. You know, it's like a smug library